All right, my friends, I think it's finally time we discuss and take care of what happened to this door. As you guys know, I bought this car wrecked. It was smashed in the front and the whole passenger side was destroyed as well. So we fixed it, repaired it, painted this fender and blended onto this door. So this door had a fresh new paint job on it, and then tragedy struck. The people want to know what happened to this door, bro.
No.
You guys already probably assumed, I've seen the comments that Jared most likely tacoed the door. So I'll let the man explain.
Let's lay the groundwork for this discussion. This car is very wide.
It is.
1. 2, it's even wider when it's cambered out and all messed up because your alignment's screwed, which it was like before you got the fab work done for the manifold. So we were loading it up to take it to get the manifold made, right? That's what, yeah, that's what Ranch did.
Mind you, I was in Mexico at the time. That's why I was not helping.
Yeah, so yeah, you were out of town, so you weren't able to help. So it was me and Trey, and then Josh happened to come at the exact moment we were loading it. So yeah, we had to push this thing into the trailer, and it's like there's this much space on either side, which I didn't even know up to that point because I'd never loaded it. Like, I had never seen you load it. So yeah, we pushed it in, and I was I was manning the door and trying to steer it, and Josh and Trey were pushing, and on my side it looked like we needed to just stay straight and maybe if anything go over to the right a little bit. But Josh was yelling at me saying, go left, go left. So I crank it left, and then they just hammered down, and I couldn't get out of the way to close the door in time, so it just raked along the cable, like the suspension cable. And yeah, it's bad, as you can see. It's pretty hammered.
Pretty hammered. Now the shitty thing is, like I explained earlier, this was the blend door, and now that the whole door has to be painted, we now have to blend on that door as well, which sucks. Thanks, Jared.
I'm blaming Josh.
You could blame Josh.
And then Josh left immediately. He wasn't sticking around for it. Like when he heard the doors rake along, he's like, well, I gotta take off, guys.
I'm just gonna blame everybody. It sucks, shit happens, but we can get it fixed up. Thankfully, I have leftover paint from when we did paint the car, and there is other stuff on the car I need to spray as well. You can see the side skirt is a little bit hammered. It's cracked. I need to fix that. And then when we painted the bay, I did not spray the core support. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off and spray that out at the same time. First thing we are going to take care of is the side skirt. What I'm going to do is V out the crack a little bit on the front side and the back side and fill it with this 3M super fast plastic repair. This stuff is absolutely insane. Literally 10 seconds later, it's already getting hard. Pretty ridiculous. We have a 1 hour complete cure time on that plastic weld there. In the meantime, let's go ahead and scuff the entire rest of the side skirt. I'm gonna hit it with 400 grit or a red scuff pad or a red scuff pad. side skirt is fully prepped out. As soon as that is completely hardened, then we can finish up the front end of it. One more piece I decided to paint real quick. Not real quick, we gotta pop it off. But being that we want this thing obviously flawless, this rear fender flare we also just painted recently, and I'm pretty sure that this happened at the Formula Drift event we were just at. I don't think I noticed it before. Maybe it was there before, but either way, I don't care. That's gonna get fixed as well. Fender flare is complete. Core support is not gonna need any sort of filler or primer work at all. I'm gonna save that for last. This door right here is most likely gonna need a little bit of primer work on the backside just to make it perfect. I have decided just now that I'm going to pull the doors and disassemble them. I could just mask off the rest of the car, but I clearly suck at masking because when I sprayed the bay, I got overspray, a little bit overspray on the rest of the car, which I'm not trying to do again. So I'm gonna pull the doors and disassemble for paint. Of course, starting with the front, the rear is just a blend panel. That'll be super easy to prep out. The front that got all the damage, that is of course gonna be a little bit more difficult, but let's get her done. Alrighty, the door is off and as disassembled, as I'm going to disassemble, everything up here is just gonna be masked off. That's actually not paint, that is a little plastic cover. And I remember when I painted this car, to get those off, you pretty much have to destroy them. So it'll be easier just to mask all that off, mask off the backside, spray the face of the door, call it a day. Let's go ahead and knock the whole thing down with 400. And hopefully we don't need primer work, but if we do, we already have to primer the skirt. Not a big deal. Door is complete. I'm gonna prime this whole bottom edge and up to right about there, just to make sure it is flawless. I went ahead and started working on the side skirt, and my plastic little bond stuff, plastic welder, it peeled off. So clearly that was not the right product for what we're doing. I'm wondering if something like a panel bond would work better. I think I'm gonna give that a shot. I figured since it's plastic, that I should probably use plastic weld. Clearly not the case. I'm gonna try some of this. It does say it is for bonding and repairing plastic, metal, fiberglass, and wood. The two-part epoxy does take quite a bit longer to harden, so I'm gonna actually let that cure overnight. Hopefully that works. We only have one more day to get everything prepped out. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and pop the rear door off, and a blend panel is a little bit different to prep out, if you guys weren't aware, being that we're only doing color about halfway on the door. We need different grits of utensils. Let's pop the door and I'll show you what I'm gonna do.
That bitch ain't even pointed at you.
Fuck yeah.
The fuck? It's just pointing at your engine bay.
Well, it's not, bitch, look. All right, so for a blend panel, you wanna use much lighter grit. And of course you cannot burn through the paint at all. At least you don't want to. If you do, your blend panel is pretty much screwed. So I'm using 800 grit, and I'm gonna use a red scuff pad instead of 400 and I'm using 800 and a gray scuff pad instead of, if we're painting base and clear on the whole door, we'd use 400 and a red scuff pad. Once again, do not burn your edges. If you think you might burn an edge, don't even hit the edge. Scuff it with a gray scuff pad and you'll be good to go. This guy is 100% ready to go. That guy needs a little bit of primer. This thing is 100% ready for paint. This guy is gonna need a little bit of primer. Can't prime until we get that crack fully fixed up. Our 2-part epoxy on the side skirt is completely hardened up. Looks like it worked much better. I've tried to flex it a little bit to make sure that crack ain't gonna reappear, and I think we should be good to go. Of course, if I flex it too much, it'll crack no matter what. I'm gonna go ahead and sand this guy down with, let's say, I'm gonna start with probably 80 grit, go to like a 240, and then finish off the 400. I most likely will need a little bit of filler work here to make it perfect as well. Not a big deal. Let's get her done. Door shouldn't need too much primer. The skirt is gonna need more than the door for sure. But I think both of these things are gonna turn out flawless. Primer has been laid on the door. As you see, that whole edge that the beloved Jared destroyed, and on the side skirt as well. Side skirt is gonna turn out a lot better than I initially thought it would. It should just look perfect if I'm being real with you guys. So that's exciting. Back of the skirt had a little bit of scratching going on, little kind of deep scratches. Went ahead and primed that as well. Ideally, we would let that primer cure and shrink for a couple days, but we are spraying tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. is when the booth rental starts. So we ain't got a couple days. We got, what is that, 20 hours from now? In the meantime, let's go ahead and pop off the core support and get that guy ready to go.
There's something else coming, but it's I had to ship it.
I don't want to know. Bro, I can't eat any of this shit. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I can't.
Just hold on to it for a long time.
Bro.
And eventually, once
No.
once you want it,
Bro, I'll fuck these things up though. You fucking bitch.
wait for a Sunday.
God damn. Bro, traveling are so fucking good. Eat it. Okay. Eat one. Bro, take it back right now. You're gonna nut in your mouth.
He's never had a fast break?
Bro.
That's pretty fucking good.
Dude, they're so good.
It's kind of like just a Snickers.
On steroids, bro. It's fucking
Yeah.
way better.
Damn.
Well, thanks, Jared. You fucking bitch.
I'm putting
You want me to do the fucking chocolate?
That's why I said you're gonna hate me, because it's gonna tempt you to be a fat fuck. Just hold on to it.
I'll fuck everything else with though. Thanks, bro.
Yeah. I'm like, I know he likes chocolate and cashews and these chips and energy drinks.
I like your packing paper.
Fuck yeah. Bro, I was gonna buy some at the store. Fucking shit was like $6 for some paper. I'm like, we got a bunch at the shop.
Unfortunately, we cannot spray the core support unless we tear off the whole entire front end, which I don't think it's worth it because I found out a better solution. So I bought something that's gonna make it better. The reason for it is this metal piece right here, that is tied in. It's like molded into this plastic. No way to get it off unless we break the plastic. Or like I said, completely tear apart the whole entire front end, which I ain't trying to do that because you guys will see here, maybe in a week or so, something better's in the mail and it's gonna be sick. Alrighty boys, it is time to go ahead and block these parts out. 400 grit, wet, nice little thick block, and go ahead and sand down this primer. So the booth rental starts tomorrow at 5 a.m. So I don't have to get here at like 3 and start masking everything. I'm just gonna go ahead and mask both doors tonight. So tomorrow we can just load up the truck and head on to the booth. Well, my friends, it is 4:30 in the morning, about to head to the booth, and I got a text saying that the booth rental has been canceled because they need to paint other stuff. So that really sucks, and that leaves us with one other option. This is either gonna go really good and I'm gonna learn a lot, or this is gonna go horribly wrong and I'm still gonna learn a lot. Let's wait for the beautiful sunrise and I can paint my parts, and hopefully no dirt and no bugs land on them, and hopefully the wind doesn't pick up and blow them across the road. So this is the exact paint from when we painted the car, not the bay. And I've been saving this just in case of something like this. Of course, humidity is different. Pressure is probably gonna be a little bit different. There's other factors that play into getting a perfect paint match, but that is what we are blending for. I'm sure I'm gonna be using this a whole lot today. In between every coat, I'm gonna tack these things down. Man, I hope this goes good, but I'm willing to accept it if it does not. I know the risk. Blend panel I'm not gonna touch for a while. I'll probably just do 2 light coats on the gray areas, the primered areas. I could seal them, but there's not that much to seal. Oh yeah, this cover's nice. I put 2 coats of base on all of the primer areas, flare, side skirt, and door. Now we are ready to lay some real paint down. I'm gonna do 2 full coats on that door. This door is a blend panel, so the first coat is gonna come to about here, second coat to about here. Of course, just fading it out so you cannot tell with the naked eye that it's blended. Flare and skirt, 2 coats of base, and then we move on to clear. So far it's going good. I don't see anything crazy going on. No dirt, no bugs yet, but then again, still a little bit dark out and kind of hard to see. A little bit of something weird going on the flare here, so I'm gonna hit her with some 800, get her smoothed out. All right, dudes, it is time for clear. One last tack session. Of course, in between coats of clear, you cannot use a tack rag. 3 coats of clear today because there's gonna be dirt and bugs and shit that we're gonna have to sand out. So far, so good though. Of course, there is a little bit of stuff that lands on it in between. My dumbass set this thing on top of the reducer. I'm guessing there's a little bit of reducer on top of the bottle and it got on the tack rag. And as you can see, kind of did some damage on her door, but thankfully we can easily fix that. Back in the day, I would have been pissed. But nowadays, with more knowledge, I know how to fix this. All right, should be good. A little bit more there. We are all done painting, and surprisingly enough, these things turned out better than they would have if I set up the inflatable booth with all this shit on the ground and everything blown around. They actually turned out pretty good. Of course, there's a little bit of dirt and fuzzies and whatnot in the doors. Super easy to wet sand out. Flare turned out very, very nice. Just look at this. So excited that this actually turned out better than I was anticipating. Here's where that giant crack was. Can't even tell it was ever there. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to let these sit outside and bake in the sun. It's supposed to be about 100 degrees later on today, so those things should cure up mighty fine, probably within a couple hours. Got the parts in the shop. Let's look at these things up close. Of course, there's a little bit of dirt. We are spraying in the wind and outside, but overall, I find it kind of funny that these turned out better, much better than the bay did, which we sprayed in the inflatable booth. A couple of minutes of wet sanding and polishing, which you need to do on the whole car anyway. And these guys will look perfect. So, lesson learned. Apparently painting outside is better than painting in the inflatable booth. Now imagine if we could actually spray it in an actual booth like we were supposed to. These would have been 100% perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Gonna wrap it up here, let these things harden up, cure up, get them back on the car, and get this thing polished out. Peace out, my friends, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.